Hey, what's going on, everybody? And yeah, it's been another little bit since I did my last video. Things have just been kind of crazy, especially with the past holiday with Thanksgiving going on, and now we got Christmas and New Year's coming up. It's been a wild ride on top of schoolwork. We had a couple major milestones happen on since my last video. One of them is being a pretty significant studio upgrade, which I am pretty excited to show you guys. And then the other is just discussing the history of music class I just recently had completed. So, before we get to the good stuff, we'll talk about the history of music, 'cause that's probably why you guys are here. Not just for me to show off my equipment. So the history of music class came, and it was hard in a good way. I don't think it was necessarily hard as far as it was the workload. It was just hard and challenging for the fact that it forced you into genres that you don't write or you don't typically write. And it doesn't matter if you're coming from the hip-hop world, the pop world, orchestral world, rock world, whatever modern genre that you have right now, it did not matter coming into this class. I mean, we went as far back as like Beethoven time frame, far back. And we were given an assignment to emulate the sound for that specific time frame. Again, like Beethoven time frame, utilizing the same lyrics, or not same lyrics, but similar lyrics with the same pronunciations, and then having to turn it around and modernize it. Take those lyrics that you just pretty much put out and then modernize it into your own flair without getting too far away from the main idea of the music. So that was weird. But the other thing that was challenging for me, I'm an orchestral composer primarily, was I don't write lyrics. I used to be able to be very poetic in my high school days. I have since lost that skill, and I don't write lyrics. There's a reason why I don't sing. I don't write lyrics for anything. All my stuff's instrumental. Unless somebody else is recording it, obviously. But if it's my own work, no, it ain't happening. So that threw me for a loop, on top of being into a field that I've never touched. We've never touched, or never even thought of touching. But also, as we started moving on with this class, we started getting into the more modern stuff. We learned pretty much going back to the slavery days and where R&B came, where gospel came, how that transitioned into jazz, the different forms of jazz, and then ultimately turning into rock and roll and modern music as we know it today. So it was very cool to see the transition. It was very dry initially. I'm not a history person from the get-go. You start talking like anything that really doesn't necessarily interest me. It's very hard for me to concentrate and retain any sort of information. It was just tough. But once we started getting into the modern stuff, that's when I kind of perked up, especially when we got into the topic of how country music came to be and the Grand Ole Opry was born, the history of the Ryman Auditorium. I'm more perked up just because I'm from Tennessee, and that's my stomping grounds. So it was just cool just to kind of get the extra information that I didn't pick up from my time in Tennessee, and actually got to really build up on it and get some pretty cool knowledge out of it. So the last project that we had to do was we had to compose a 50 style song using the same lingo, same lyrics type deal, or same style lyrics anyways. And then, yeah, and that's what we were doing. Which, that was challenging just because I started over-composing the hell out of it, and thank God my parents are musicians, because they kind of help pump the brakes on me a little bit. They don't normally help me with my projects, but this one was kind of nice just because I am not a singer, and they were able to kind of guide me in the right direction without pretty much telling me what to do. But yeah, we got through that class. We had a lot of praise from my music, and I might be posting that here in a little bit. I know my freaking 19th, 18th century one. The lyrics will not be posted with that one if I haven't posted it already. That was just out of request for the person that sang it. They didn't want their voices heard on the World Wide Web. However, the one that I recently did, my 50s one, I might actually post. That one was actually pretty awesome. Outside of that, now we're in the history of pop culture, or not history of pop culture, we're just pop culture and media. Just going off of basic marketing and marketing tactics. It's really just kind of a check-the-box type class. Ain't too hard. I'm really not... I can't say I'm not gaining anything, but it's not doing much for me, really. Whereas a history of pop culture, or history... Wow, I am getting my words mixed up, aren't I? Whereas the history of music, I was able to gain confidence in working with different genres and doing actual vocal recordings, which is cool. So, other than that, that's pretty much our update right now. We have 2 more weeks left until Christmas break, and we will have the rest of December off, and then come back at it again in January with Project and Portfolio 3, which should be interesting. So on that note, in between my past 2 classes, I did a lot of splurging, and I did a lot of studio upgrades. Mostly it was just quality of life and productivity upgrades. Things that I would like to have, and things that would kind of speed up my workflow a little bit, which I'm excited to use come my next projects. My biggest one for a quality of life type deal was end up picking up the Focal Clear MG Pros. Now, the only gripe I have with these guys is I wish they had a longer cord or a straight cable, similar to my DT 1990s that I'm using. I love the long straight cable, whereas this one, the long cable is a coil cable. But yeah, this headphone runs you about $1,400, so it was very hard for me to justify it. But after hearing some great reviews and a fellow music producer, Colt Caparoon, which I don't know him personally, he does an extensive YouTube channel as far as helping out and mentoring everybody in the music industry, or those that are coming up in it. But anyway, so he did a pretty extensive review of these, and I was sold on it immediately. End up trying a pair out at Sweetwater, and I thought I could hear pins drop in the back of a mix with these. These heighten up everything. The bass is phenomenal on it. This is probably the best headphone I've ever listened and mixed music on. It's freaking awesome. But for the most part, it does live in its case, just because it's an expensive freaking headphone, and I don't want anything to happen with it as I'm sitting there flinging it around, right? But the drivers are pushed towards the front a little bit, whereas the DT 1990s and the other most major headphones out there, the driver for the headphone kind of sits in the middle. By having the driver pushed up a little bit, opens up the sound stage a little bit more, and yeah, it's very noticeable. Very comfortable. It's got a velvety type ear pad, and it also includes extra ear pads should these get worn out, which is awesome. These the DT 1990s came with extra ear pads, but they're the way how the 1990s ear pads work is they change up the sound profile. Whereas the pads I have on right now are pretty neutral, and the ones where it's supposed to enhance the bass, that's staying in the bag right now. Whereas these ear pads don't do anything. The whole diaphragm does everything. There's no extra thing that happens. But yeah, this was more of a splurge and impulse buy than anything. But I am glad I have this, because as I was actually just reviewing some of my old mixes, it's a night and day difference of what I can actually hear. Coming from a $500-600 headphone to a $1,400 headphone, it's huge, sound wise. And it comes in a nice little carrying case, and then yeah, this is where it lives for right now. I'm happy with it. I really am. So productivity wise, we ended up getting the SSL Uf8. I love this thing already. I have everything set up with... sorry guys, end up having a little bit of technical difficulties. End up running out of memory on my phone camera. And that's what I take my videos on right now until I get something a little bit more solid. Where I left you guys off at was I was getting ready to talk about the SSL Uf8. And this guy has been freaking phenomenal since I bought this thing. This guy runs about $1,400, and this was a definite necessity for streamlining my production. So I primarily wanted something with faders. I hated using the freaking mouse. I hate looking at the screen, controlling everything. I even hated using the iPad to control my DAW, which everybody on campus is using the MTI Raven, which is such a gimmick in my eyes. Like it to me, it's an expensive glorified tablet is what it is. You sit there and remotely touch faders, and it's all virtual. It's weird. It's not for me. I like the feel. So anyways, so I picked up the SSL Uf8. Has obviously real faders, recallable faders, mind you. So I can open up any project. And the best thing about this was the hardest thing to set this thing up was I literally had to plug in one cable to my computer and one power cord. That was the most difficult thing ever. And then hook up SSL's 360 software, which allows for the button mapping, which really and truly, I'm still using the stock mapping that it has. Like I didn't need to really fix anything or change anything. Everything I'm using was already pre-mapped, which was awesome. So it's all ready to go with Pro Tools and Logic. I've been zipping around with Logic like freaking crazy, and it's just been awesome to be able to literally go over and touch multiple things at one time, sit there, and just move everything. It's awesome. And outside of just the faders, it has plug-in control, so I can control VST3 softwares. And then just overall DAW control. I can zoom in, zoom out. This is my scrubbing wheel. Yeah, it does a lot. And to be honest with you, it does a lot more than I can comprehend right now, which is kind of sad. And I don't think I will ever use this thing to its fullest potential. But so far, I am excited to be able to really use this in my upcoming projects, as it will definitely streamline everything as it already has since I've been playing with it. So other than that, the next big splurge that I had, I'm slipping and sliding. So I love my microphones. The microphones I have right now, they're definitely nice to have. I'm glad for my little bit of a mic locker that I've developed and really been focusing on. But what I have in this box is my first no bullshit studio microphone. This is the Warm Audio WA47. It's supposed to be the replica of the U47, which are both tube condensers. So this guy right here, it's in this nice little velvet home. I love it. And it's rather big from when I was initially looking at it. And yeah, this guy right here is no joke, and it's got some weight to it. It definitely feels premium in comparison to my other condensers. Obviously, since this one's a little bit bigger because it has to house a vacuum tube inside. I'm excited to really try it. I haven't tried it out yet. It's still pretty much lived in its box. You know, I pulled it out and played with it a little bit, just kind of checking it out. But other than that, it's lived in here, and then it came with a flight case. So it has its own heavy-duty flight case. That way everything stays all nice and neat in here, which is awesome. Overall, with everything, with the flight case included, this microphone ran me a little over $1,000. So yeah, we spent some money. We spent a lot of money, but I think they were pretty much necessity upgrades, minus my headphones. I think I could have done without my headphones for a little bit longer, but I do like how I can hear everything. I know I've been wanting at least one solid good microphone for a while, just to have on hand if I have to record anybody else again. Yeah, I'm excited. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Other than that, I had an opportunity pop up with the Army. I was invited to apply for a position for Pershing Zone, which is a position with the Army band, in a sense, out in Washington. And pretty much being an audio engineer, I guess they liked my work and sent me an invite. So I sent my packet in, what they required. So we're just waiting for a call back at that point, or at this point. So yeah, more news on that. If anything happens, I'm not gonna put all my eggs in one basket, but would be kind of cool. And then I would definitely need to get my chubby butt back in shape. I've definitely gained some weight sitting at this studio. Other than that, guys, there hasn't been a whole lot going on. And with me approaching on winter break, there was a comment out there that they were struggling with the project and portfolio 2 modeling exercises, and I replied back saying I have all my video feedback for portfolio 2, which my old instructor David Croft literally went through every single one of my projects and critiqued my mix, adjusted my mix, and walked me personally through via video of what areas to kind of focus on. So if you guys are interested in that, I mean, I can post any one of my videos, all 3 maybe, and at least gives you guys some guidance on what they're really looking for. So you guys let me know. All 3 of them live on my computer, and at any point in time I can just throw them on there. So it just takes one person to say, hey, throw them up, and I will upload them for you guys. It's no big deal at all. And then what else? What else is coming down? That's pretty much it. So with winter break coming along, like I said, I would like to put more videos out there. My free time is open. I did pick up a new software plugin called Oceania. Whatever. In my previous take, I struggled with it too. So, anyways, it is a orchestral choir plugin, and it's a very, very strong, epic choir plugin. I prefer it over Metropolis Arc, which Metropolis Arc runs about $600. And this plugin, year-round, minus Black Friday when I got it, year-round is about $230, and it is phenomenal. And I think that's the next video I'm going to be showing you guys, is just showing it off to you guys. It is, even if you're not into orchestral music, this plugin is great to have just in your toolbox, I think. But yeah, I think that'll be the next video I show you guys while I'm on Christmas break. And yeah, let me know what you guys want during this break period. I can do quite a bit. So, yeah, other than that, guys, to kind of recap for everybody that's coming into Portfolio 2 and that modeling exercise and history of music, going with it with an open mind. That's best I could say. History of music will be challenging only because it's going to be forcing you into genres that you have never touched before, and I can promise you that. And yeah, it's just going to be challenging. So go in it with an open mind, and you will get through it. I promise you on that. But other than that, guys, I think I'm going to end it here, and I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday, and can't wait to see you on the other end. Take care, y'all.